We might also wait a few minutes in for, it's just 4, but why don't we start at 4:05?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm also sharing this live on Shoebox PR Facebook. So if anybody wants to
What happened?
see it, let me see. Make sure it's starting here. I hope everybody's having a good, what is it, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday more afternoon.
What is that? No. Ugh.
Right. There we go. So I think that's working. We're just going to wait a couple minutes for a couple more people to come in. And oh, good, there it goes. And then I'll do a little intro and we'll go from there.
I'm sorry.
Anybody doing anything exciting except for staying home?
I went to Chinatown.
You did?
I saw that show with Habib and Virginia Katz and that Foca show.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's awesome.
God, so great. I think it's one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. I mean, I like that space. I've never been there before.
Yeah, it's cool. I've seen some of my friends have been in shows. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, they have a little tea place downstairs, and it was a really nice day.
Oh, good. You know, it's like anytime you can get out right now and see something socially distanced, and you know, like I think, were you the one no, Betsy actually was saying when she saw a show recently, it fed her soul. You know, I think, is that what you said?
Yeah, it was
Get out to see art.
Art on the walls.
Yeah.
There's art at Tag. It's always nice to go in there because, you know, when you include all the galleries, there's a lot of art that.
No, they're starting to open up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tag's a bigger space, so it's easier to, you know, kind of walk through without running into anybody.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. What time is it? We'll wait like another minute or two and then get started. And it is being recorded, so if you need to leave or anything, it'll be there. Pam, I bet you were exhausted after the installation.
It was a long installation because the rafts had been collapsed for storage.
Oh yeah.
It basically had to be reconstructed on site.
Yeah.
So it was okay. But it's exciting to see a show fully up, especially when you've seen it in just pieces and finally it's all there.
Yeah. So I guess when it comes down, they're going to have to be deconstructed again until January and then reconstructed, right?
That's exactly what's going to happen. But we'll talk about what's going on in January later.
Okay, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure more people will come as we, you know, as we go on. What we're gonna do is Pam's kind of gonna do a walkthrough courtesy of Ryan from Tag. He has his iPad and he's gonna walk through the gallery for a few minutes. And Pam's gonna, you know, give kind of an overview of the whole installation. And then we have a PowerPoint presentation where you'll be able to see more details of the rafts, and she'll talk in more depth about the whole project and you know, yeah, and you know, why she's doing it and how important it is to everything we're dealing with right now. So the exhibition is on view right now at Tag Gallery on Wilshire. through October 31st. So I don't remember, do you need an appointment or you can just?
Oh, it's definitely open.
Okay, cool.
Although you can get an appointment if you want one.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want your soul fed.
Christine, I think some of these people don't know who you are.
Yeah, oh yes, thank you. I am Christine Shoemaker. I run Shoebox PR. We're an artist management and PR company, and we're a support network for artists. So we've been working with Pam for 2 or 3 years now, something like that, yeah. You know, supporting her like even before she started Sanctuary and watching everything that she's done and watching this exhibition and installation grow. And I mean, we're so excited for January and February to see what, you know, happens then. But yeah, so we've been, you know, working together, you know, helping, mentoring, you know, offering advice however we can. And just like I said, watching this whole thing evolve and watching her grow. So it's exciting that we're here. And yeah, like I said, the exhibition is at TAG. Ryan is outside of TAG right now. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight his video, which I just learned how to do. And that way he could do the walkthrough and Pam can talk for a few minutes and then we'll do the slideshow and go from there.
That's cool.
Yeah, Pam, do you want to take it away?
Okay, I think Ryan is walking into the gallery, and on the right side here, right near the door, are the only wall-hung pieces. These are the rowers, and these are a feeling of what the rafts are like when they're pretty populated. This one here are the rescuers, and there's the dynamism of people actually afloat, struggling to make it. And, you know, we're rooting for them.
Pam?
With all the, yes.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to talk about what Sanctuary is?
Oh,
In
sure.
general? And then,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sanctuary is a 3-part series that I've been working on for years now, that deals with, it began by dealing with refugees globally. And the first part with walking figures, life-size walking figures on land. The rafts, which is part 2 today, which is travel by sea. And we're going to see some physical rafts as well as these few wall-hung pieces here. I am going to mute my phone. There we go. And what has happened in time is that what started as a discussion of refugees turned into an understanding of what life is like now for all of us adrift. There is an idea of rafts that comes from Buddhism, which is that a raft is something that carries you to another shore, a shore of safety, that carries you over rough seas to a place of peace. What we're looking at now is something called Almost There, and there'll be details of it later. You can see in all of these that we're mixing 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional work, and that has been one of the most challenging parts of this. There's bark on the bottom of this raft, there's burlap in back, there's a drawing, a charcoal drawing on it, and there's also clay for the hands. So we're seeing multiple mediums put together here in the service of a concept, really, of an impact. This is a family, this is called Mama Tried to Bring Us. And here's this woman, the mother, and she's got these kids. They don't look very happy. She's so hopeful, though. And here's one that's just goes from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional as she's clinging to the ropes on the raft. These are all drawn on raw linen with just very limited palette. It's charcoal and chalk because I don't want to detract from the beauty of the spirits behind them. It's really a matter of of what it's trying to say more than looking at prettiness. However, looking at colors and scale, in the back of this installation here is a 36-foot mural. It's hard on screen to know what size anything is, but that's a 36-foot mural that spans the back wall. And in the middle, you can't quite see it here, is a kind of red fiery thing, and the smoke going out like wings to both ends that frames all of these pieces. I see Ryan is moving the camera back, so we're seeing that back wall right now. And there are some pieces on the floor of, oh, there's the mural. Thank you. And since we're here, there are some pieces on the floor of people that are capsized. And look at the bark there is part of the raft. And these are characters holding on to that rope. If you go, and that's a mom reaching down to her child who's in the sea, which is this black cloth. If you look over here where we see this guy, he's holding on to a rope. And if you pan up, Ryan, we can see that's actually connected to the mast of the raft. So he is just trying to stay out of the water while he holds these other people. And now here's another one. These capsized people didn't fare as well. There's a broken guitar on it, and these people, I'm sorry, they are drowned. They're face down, and they didn't make it, because the truth is that while we're rooting for all these refugees and for all of us to survive these times, some don't. And it would be not real to say, oh, now here we're seeing some of the texture in this mural. That's nice. Yeah, the mural, if you were to go there and see it, you'd see that it's full of grit. And here we're looking around from the other side. Oh, and here's one. This is just a flag. There's nobody on the raft. There's just these figures. A little hard to see in this image, but that's okay. These three women are the ones who were on the raft, and now they're only represented by the flag that's on there. If you go back towards the wall a minute on the floor, Ryan, we can see this one. This is called bulrushes, and it's got these little tiny pink moccasins that belong to a child who's no longer on the raft. We don't know what happened. It's called bulrushes because of the grasses that are on this raft here. And it also has the biblical reference, Moses and the bulrushes and all that. So this is grasses and the little tiny shoes. I hope the child made it, but we really don't know. And so everything has a story that you can imagine into it. I'm not trying to pin the story down. I'm more or less just trying to say, this is the impact. This is the feeling of it all. And who do we have here? Oh, here we have, oh, that's collapsing a little bit. This is called Grandma Tried to Dry Our Clothes. And I don't know if it's quite visible. There's a hanger, there's a clothes hanger there. And this older woman has got the cloth on this raft, and you see she's got her hand there. And once again, two-dimensional becoming three-dimensional, and a huge mixture of mediums. The raft stuff, the canvas, the rope, the kid over there who's hanging on in clay. And there's just a lot of detail in all of these that is something that I really wish everybody could go and see in person. I know that's so hard these days. And this is Prayer for Safe Passage. And this young woman over here, this was an interesting challenge, because I wanted her to be kneeling on this. And how do you do that in 2 dimensions? Her hands are 3-dimensional. They're clay coming off this. The wrap around her is a used coffee bean bag, which is something I used also in part 1. with the walkers, they were carrying or holding bags made of these used coffee bean bags, which has a meaning. And that's also what wraps the raft logs as well as the coffee bean bags. That's not an accident. It's because coffee bean bags are a commodity, and some of the refugees and some people generally are not valued as human beings. They're considered commodities, things. And so this is the praying girl. What else do we have here? Oh, this was on the rocks, and this is two parts. You see the bottom is down here, and these guys trying to row this raft out of a ditch. And here's a little kid who's just panicking. He's in the front of this, and he's holding on with those hands made of clay. Once again, the coffee bean bag is there in the front, and he's just clinging on for safety. It's what I call a double mast raft. Incidentally, the back of these some of these rafts, you can see it behind this and behind some of the others, has the impact from the other side as sort of a cross. And that is whatever meaning you want to think about. But certainly many of these refugees are people who have faith going forward that they're going to make it. There's a tiny little piece, man with oars, and he's just, he's not even trying to row. You kind of wonder, are some of these sails, some of these images on the sails ghosts? Are they people who once rode these rafts? And it's as if their image is impressed on the sails once they're gone. So, it's another way to think about all of this. Have we traversed all the pieces from the walkthrough yet?
I think so. We have a bunch more in PowerPoint if you want to talk more about some of the details.
Want to go to that? That's fine. And by the way, folks, we're very happy to take questions from everybody at the end. So it'll be a good time for you to ask me to say more about anything or talk about the subject or whatever you'd like. We'll do that at the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, for
Thank you,
walking
Ryan.
around and showing everybody the space so people could see the whole installation in real time. You're awesome. And with that, let's see, let me go ahead and share my screen for the PowerPoint here. Oops, of course, can everybody see it okay?
I can.
Oh, I guess, okay. Pam, I guess everybody's muted. As long as you can, Pam, we're good. All right, let's see. So again, her show, Pam's show, Sanctuary to the Rafts, is up through October 31st. This is an image from, a whole installation. And Pam, if you want to go ahead and take it away, and I can kind of, go through these, tell me when, or, we can kind of see how it goes.
Sure. I'm very glad to see this photo taken at night. The walkthrough was in the day and we were getting some glare. And at night you can see how the mural punches out a little bit better. So this is just an overview of the floor taken from on the top of the stairs. So we can go forward now. This one at the left of the screen, this woman, there's something interesting here. I don't know if we can see it in terms of the 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. Her hand, which I'm pointing at the screen, it's so silly of me. Her hand that is.
I think I have detail actually.
Where did that go?
It may be farther in.
Oh, okay, well, we can come back to that. Yeah. Okay, I was just going to say her hand, which is reaching out, is 3-dimensional clay, but she's got another hand up there, which is drawn, and so that's a little bit of both. And she's also carrying 3-dimensional burlap bags. She's just way down, and I don't think this image pans down, does it? No, I guess it doesn't. Okay, and this is another double mast where there's figures that are also on this raft afterwards. So we can go to the next one. And this is Prayer for Safe Passage. And in behind her, you can see the mural and the people capsized on the floor. So I already talked about her. Oh, and there's, yeah, I think she's got such a lovely face. And that green and red is actually a stamp on the beanbag. And that was part of the coffee beans, how they come. And I put that near her, sort of as a gift to her. And the hands again, clay, whereas the drawing is charcoal, whereas the beanbag is just a piece of cloth. So a lot of mixed stuff, but it doesn't matter how it's made unless it has an impact, and I hope we care about her. This
one reminds me so much of a Madonna figure.
Yeah, in the first part, in Sanctuary Part 1, there was an actual Madonna. And there'll be somebody in Part 3 as well. But that's a continuing theme, because many of the refugees and so many people generally are not just trying to survive for themselves, but also for the people they have to care for, their children.
For sure.
Okay, so this is one of the capsized things, and with the piece of the guitar. That man, this is a slightly odd angle, but that dad is just, you can just see how he's rescuing that baby he's just clinging to that raft, which is broken. This is not a full raft, it's a broken piece of a raft with a broken guitar. And these people who are in the water. And and here's this one I was talking about before, where you can see some of the detail of there's the little girl with the mother's hand reaching out to her, getting her out of the water, and on the other side the guy with the rope hanging on the mast, and the bark. I use bark in many parts of the show. Most of the stuff I use in the series generally is found. There's no big expensive anything. These masts are all some of them I found the gardener was throwing away. They put those posts up for, I don't know what they were doing in the garden. Anyway, I asked them, could I have them? And so they said yes, and I took the masts, and the rest of this is found stuff, old rope, just burlap and raw linen. I mean, there's nothing fancy or slick about any of this, and I feel that there shouldn't be because of the theme.
Pam, Heather actually has a couple of good questions that it would be good for you to answer now, since we're looking.
Okay, sure.
She said also, love how the waves are created with the folding cloth.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of bunchy cloth throughout it to make the waves. Frankly, I would do more. I spent, what was it, about 10 hours just installing these. I think that when I do the big show in January, and we'll talk about that later, I might do more with stuff actually on the floor in bunchy cloth. This got up the way it had to.
Yeah. And how did you choose the figures? Did one figure lead to the rest? Did you make studies of the entire installation? So I guess kind of two questions there.
Oh, okay. Well, did I figure out the entire installation before beginning? No. I did the people that came to me to be done, basically. There are no models, there are no photos as a basis for any of these, but I did have reference material from UNICEF and the other rescue organizations, UNCHR and others, where I could get an idea of what was going on. But then after that, I had to make up everything. I mean, this doesn't exist like this piece here, this tableau. doesn't exist anywhere in a photo or in anything. It's all symbolic. In fact, the rafts generally are symbolic. Nobody is on a raft all by themselves crossing the Mediterranean or something. So it's more of a sense of what it feels like for the individual or for a family or for a group of people to survive, and how much they care and how much I want us to care.
Definitely. I think it's also fantastic. You know, you had got UNICEF involved last time and you donated funds from your catalog from
Yeah.
Sanctuary 1 to UNICEF. And then for Sanctuary 3, you know, you're taking donations for Doctors Without Borders.
Right. I'm gonna, that's, as I say, we'll talk about the total January show later, but the for Doctors Without Borders, which are great organizations, great global organization. And so these don't just stay as an art, I mean, yes, of course it's an art show, but it also has outreach to the world.
Definitely. There's another detail of that piece.
This is another one of this, this is a better picture of the dad and the baby there, as well as these unfortunate drowned folks. Yeah. Oh, I like this. This is a detail. This is half of the one called Almost There. And what I like about this, I like a lot of things about this, but one thing is that the mom is holding the baby's little foot. And little tiny details like that, which you might miss unless you are really there and walking around, mean a lot. I mean, it's the difference between taking the trouble to do a good job with something and, you know, just doing something easy. This was not easy. This was hard. Everything, even including draping that baby's arm over that bag, that piece of luggage there, and making his little tiny legs. This is, and her dress. This is just a lot of craft that went into this, including, I'm not a domestic type, but I found myself doing a lot of sewing. So her dress had to be sewn, and his pants had to be sewn. And the same thing is true. Lots of parts of this. Oh, and this is, I talked about her before. This is Mom Tried to Bring Us.
Yeah.
Oh, this, oh, there's two here. Yeah, this is this miniature. This guy's so tiny. The reason I wasn't going to do a miniature, but Christine wanted to have a few smaller pieces in her shoebox gallery, and it had to be small. So I just made him, but then after I made him, I decided I loved him.
I like him too. And
Yeah.
just as an FYI, the photos are courtesy of LA Art Documents and also Tag Gallery. So the specific rafts like these are LA Art Documents, and the installation shots are Tag Gallery. Really great photos too.
Yes. Yeah, we should really get rid of them. And this is just a interesting. It's kind of an interesting angle because you see some of the dynamism of them together. Oh, if you can go back to, yeah. This was the front piece where I was talking about the hand and the hand. She is disembarking from the raft. I wanted the first piece to be somebody actually leaving. In other words, that foot is stepping off onto the gallery floor, or it should be stepping off onto the gallery floor. And so that's another reach from what's real, what's not real, what's present, what's in the shell. And here's a better view of the one with the hanger there.
Oops.
Oh, these are these women on the flag. That flag, oh, and this is on the rocks. You saw that a minute ago, that kid. That flagpole that was a minute ago, yeah, they're praying hands. Oh, you can see on the left, see praying hands. Only unfortunately, one of them broke. Got the little hand here, so I have to go to the gallery and glue it back on. He's got one praying hand. It's okay.
People don't actually like hear the behind the scenes.
Right. Well, I didn't know it was broken until it was just really hard to install. And I didn't know it was broken until I got home and found this little hand on the floor.
You know, Pam, I have to say, this is Ryan, everybody.
Yeah.
That I totally read it as a hand reaching up from the sea, which I felt was more ghostly.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I won't glue it on.
I was gonna say, like, because I always think of the drowned souls as reaching upwards, right? Like.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I won't glue it on. I'll take a look. I'll go and see.
Either way, but it still reads really well. Broken.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's so funny to have this little hand here. Anyway. Yeah. I talked about this a minute ago. This is bulrushes with the little tiny moccasins.
Love this detail shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes a simple piece like that with the moccasins, as complicated as some of them were, that moccasin one we just looked at, bulrushes, is extremely simple. I mean, yeah, it has all those grass and everything, but there's only 2 shoes on it. And yet sometimes something really simple can have maximum impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anna is asking, how do you think your work has changed or evolved during this entire process from part 1 to part 3?
That's a great question. We're going to we'll see in January what happens ultimately. But this has grown hugely. The part 1 was all wall hung. They were just figures. And yes, they had 3-dimensional elements, but it was all flat, hung on the wall, although they were carrying things. I started to think about, I have to come off the wall with all of this. It really, and although I do have those 3 wall-hung pictures on this one, it really called for a more visceral expression. And I have not done, in my practice as an artist, I've never done 3-dimensional work. Well, I did 2 years ago, but going back historically, I was a painter. So all of this, starting to think about it in 3 dimensions and to think about physical materials, was new to me and a huge explosion of growth. In part 3, which I'll get to, which is the shelters, it's even more so. I mean, it's fully a place. But here, something like this, seeing it, standing there looking down at these little shoes on the thing there, has an impact that you couldn't get from a picture. And so that's part of the growth. I also learned a lot about materials and working with materials. I've become very fond of glue. No, and I've it's been a tremendous experience for me. I hope it's a good experience for others, but it's a big experience for me.
She also said all the pieces are incredible. Thank you for doing the walkthrough for those who can't be there.
Oh, you're most welcome. I hope at some point people will be able to see these in person, because they're so tactile that you almost need to feel the grass and the burlap and everything.
Yeah. And then there is another question. Did you have a place in mind where the refugees came from, and where they were hoping to land at?
Well, at the very beginning in part 1, I was moved by the children in cages and what was going on the Mexican border. And so I think that was the very earliest impulse for this. So they were coming from, South America and Central America in that era. That's no longer the case. Nobody's taking a raft from Mexico to Texas. At least I hope they're not. most people on rafts right now are in the Mediterranean Sea, and they're going from Syria to Southern Europe, to Greece and Italy, and then into Europe. And then there's all the refugees from climate disasters in South Asia as well. It's really it's a global phenomenon of migrations of people who have been burned out or flooded out or starved out. And what's going on is that people are trying desperately to go anywhere but the place where there is no hope. It's a tough global phenomenon. It is really not about Mexico at all, I mean, or Central America. It's really, I think for the rafts, I probably was feeling more Mediterranean Sea. When we get to part 3, once again, we're really all over the world, and we have people from everywhere who wouldn't really be all in one, refugee camp together, but I put them together.
I know I have a question kind of adding on to that. Something we've talked about in the past, as far as when you first started the project, it was, about the refugees. And then because of like 2020, it has become relevant to what's going on today in our world. Can you kind of talk more about that, your feelings about that, and how you feel?
Absolutely. Nobody knew back in 2018 when I started, and 2019 when I started part 1 of this, what was ahead for us. Now, I think since we have been sequestered mostly or isolated, this feeling of desperation, of fear, of wanting so desperately to get to the other shore where we are safe is part of our culture, part of our country right now. And the feeling I brought to these rafts really wasn't so much about, the global refugees from an emotional point of view. It was about salvation for all of us, sanctuary for all of us. And again, as I get to part 3, and I deal with Doctors Without Borders, that's also, and a clinic there, it's also about health and what it takes to survive. So this has really jumped from the initial reason for doing it to what it finally is still becoming, because I'm still working on it.
Definitely. I think there's a couple more slides here of the work that's on the wall.
We talked about these are the wall hung ones.
What made you create the wall hung on top of the installation pieces?
I was doing them around the same time. The reason I wanted to do these is that I can get more people in them. And the idea of people just rowing desperately with these crowded rafts. Well, this is somebody, this is somebody rescuing somebody out of the water, the hands, and do you have a close-up another one of the others? Yeah, like something like this. There's a lot of detail in these little kids under the straw back there, and all these men just desperately rowing. And the other one, do we have the other one?
I think this is the last one that we have.
Oh, we didn't have it? Okay. Yeah, I was also interested in using the sticks, and there are, that one in the middle there, which I guess we don't have. There's a man standing in the middle there with making a peace sign, and that's got a lot of sticks, a lot of people rowing, and a lot of tiny figures in the back of women and children, babies. So I wanted to make a crowd, and I thought this was the best way to express that while staying with the feeling of all of the rafts, because these are the rafts too. They're just not fully three-dimensional.
Awesome. I think that is it for the slideshow. Let's see. I'll go ahead and stop sharing here. And then, does anybody have any other questions for Pam? Thank you, I mean, Pam, for, you know, for the amazing walkthrough.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to answer questions. Are there some more in the chat or something?
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out. People, you know, everybody can feel free to unmute yourself if you want, and, you know, just ask questions that way if you'd like.
Not hearing it. No.
I couldn't hear what she said.
Was that Patrice?
Where's my sound?
Hi, Patrice, I can't hear you.
Oh, she muted herself now.
Okay.
I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it, Pam. That was amazing. It was beautiful.
I hope you go see it, because really we're doing the best we can on screen, but it's so physical. And there's so many tiny things in there that you actually have to put your face down on it and say, oh, wow, now I see, you know, that hand, or that's whatever.
Yeah, I love the hands. I love the 3D mixed with the flatness. I love that.
Yeah.
The illusion of that is great.
Yeah, that was the biggest challenge from a making point of view. How do you get something two-dimensional to become three-dimensional credibly and not have it be jarring, which is you know, cloth and, you know, you figure stuff out. Mostly what's under the constructions is paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls.
Wow.
I mean, really, that's what's giving me the somebody needs to be muted. Thanks to the music, but you know.
Oh, if you're giving away your secrets, Pam, how is Rafts made?
No, but I love that the materials are so basic and simple and not expensive. And it's part of the philosophy of the whole show that there is nothing that is expendable, that is nothing that has no value. I mean, a paper towel roll is a wondrous thing. You know?
Yeah.
Tell the story about where the coffee bean bags came from.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was not initially going to do this. I was just drawing. And on the Artist Trading, which is a site that Christine actually created, somebody said, you know, we import coffee, and I've got all these doggone bags. I'm about to throw them out. Anybody want them? And I said, yeah. I have an epiphany. Yes, that's what will make the show work. And she was way out in Long Beach, Virginia, Broisma. And I drove there and got this huge batch of coffee bean bags, and I still have some. And they're in part 3 as well. So this was one of the blessings. I mean, I have just been gifted. Like I told you, the mass is something that a gardener was throwing away. There are lots of other parts of things that are just found in alleys or taken from trees or taken from the ground, because I think that's how it should be. I did buy the charcoal.
Donna says, thank you for the walkthrough. The combination of the 3D and the line work is wonderful.
Well, thank you very much. Well, as we're getting, let's see, was there any other questions?
I'd like to just say one thing. I'm Dennis.
Hi, Dennis.
This presentation is superb, and you can tell, and the photography is outstanding. But I'm one of the fortunate people who saw the first installation live, and I can tell you that it compared to. I mean, this is wonderful, but it's a multiple of 10. Not only should each of you make every attempt once we can get back in the gallery to see it, but also to refer your friends and neighbors and artists and people who aren't artists. It's really an absolutely masterful presentation. So thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Dennis. And once again, Tag Gallery is technically open. I know there's someone here from Brazil who is not coming to the show.
Why not?
But
Oh, can you hear
yeah,
me?
Betsy. Yeah, go ahead, Betsy.
Yeah, I'm just so blown away by this whole thing. I'm just immersed in it, and I can, having seen the first show in person, and I can really feel and see the evolution of your confidence in it. It feels so. I mean, the first one was spectacular too, but this one feels, I don't know, there's something about it that feels so much stronger to me that it, I'm just beside myself. I'm just curious what what your intention of showing in the mural, you know, is that, what does that mean to you and how does it relate? I mean, it's
yeah,
but
thank you, Betsy. The two things about the mural. One is that I didn't want them coming out of a white wall. But also, the mural is supposed to be the land they are escaping from. It's a devastation. There's a fire, and there's all that smoke. So, and there's a lot of, if you saw it in person, you'd see that it's very heavily textured. There's a lot of junk floating in it, like pieces of string, and you know, it's full of textured objects. So it's like, this is what you get when a wind is blowing garbage around. And it's not a pretty thing. I also have a mural which is very, very different from part 3. And the difference is, this is an abstract mural for Sanctuary Part 2. For part 3, I did a mural, also 36 feet, which is more or less a realistic landscape. And that was a whole other trip, because that's in a place, and I thought they had to be in a place. See, you know, you try, you find out if it's going to work or not. But I think the white wall wouldn't have been good for it. I wanted something dark behind them, and so I painted this.
I also am really struck by the wall hangings. They're gorgeous, and I can't wait to see it. I'm in person.
Yeah, you'll come. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
You'll
I'll be there soon. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, fabulous.
Patrice, there, if you go to are you on Facebook? Oh, okay. I'm going to put it on YouTube. And so I don't know if Pam has your information, or
Yeah, I can find Patrice.
okay, on Shoebox PR's page on Facebook. So I'm going to put it there, so you'll be able to see it. And also, just if you want to see Sanctuary Part 1, it's going to be at the Los Angeles Art Association.
Oh, yeah.
Opening like October 30th through December 4th. So it'll be on view there.
That's right. Yeah, so as we get towards the end here, let me talk about what the future.
Yeah.
Not that I'm still willing to answer more questions, but.
Yes, please, any questions?
But I am reprising Sanctuary Part 1 at a solo show at Gallery 825, Los Angeles Art Association, from October 30th through December 4th. And it'll be in the Werdeman room, which is a smaller room. I think that's actually good because everything will be very tight. So that'll be part 1 if anybody wants to go back and see part 1. But then the big news is that from January 15th to February 13th, right here at Tag Gallery, they have graciously given me all 6,500 square feet. I mean, the whole gallery downstairs. And I am going to be putting together Sanctuary 1, 2, and 3, which is, so what you're seeing there in part 2 is less than 1/3 of the show. It's actually about 1/4 of the show that will be up in January. And that should be, as much as I expanded from part 1 to part 2, I expanded again from part 2 to part 3 in many ways. They'll all be up there and they'll all connect in some way, but I really hope that whether or not you can go to the show now, that you can find a way. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the world, gosh, but I hope it'll be safe enough to go to the gallery in January or February to see the full show, because the only way to see it is to be there, really.
Yeah.
And if you have friends who own museums, tell them I would like to put this at a museum or a college or a giant community center or an airport hangar, or, you know, something.
Anybody with a big space.
Giant space. Yes.
Definitely.
I see there are some new messages, it says here.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out. There aren't any
Okay.
any other
Another
questions
question?
from anybody. Cool. Anything else you want to mention or talk about, Pam? You're probably exhausted.
Well, putting it up was exhausting, and this is just sitting here.
How are you feeling actually? Because a lot of times, you know, when we put up a big show, we're like just spent. We're, you know, and we kind of go through that what next. And I know you're working on the shelters. Is that, you know, is it just like, okay, it's up, I'm on to the next thing, or how are you feeling?
Well, because I actually finished part 2 last February, so everything you're seeing up there is February. I've been working on part 3 since then, so I'm fully immersed. And what I'm doing now on part 3, this is hardly a sense of what the whole show is, but one little tiny part of it is going to be a 6-foot by 4-foot drawing of perspectives of tents going far into the distance. So I'm spending every day doing something that is extremely relaxing, really truly zen, just drawing tiny little tents. And it's really, I mean, I hope it'll work. I mean, the rest of the show is mostly done, but so no, I'm not having a depression. But talk to me again after all 3 parts come down in February, and they all have to come home and be stored, never to be seen again in life, unless you guys talk to your friends who own museums, please.
They will be seen again, for sure.
Yeah.
But also you have more catalogs. So if people want to buy catalogs from Sanctuary One, those are available.
Oh, okay.
They're in the gallery, actually.
Okay.
At a discounted, everything I sell the catalogs for gets donated. And I've reduced the price. They're just $10 now. Or whatever you want to donate. So they're in the gallery, and you can buy one if you didn't get it at the first time. I'm not making a catalog for the rest of this, but I am making a video of part 2. LA Art Documents, wonderful guys, are going to be shooting a video of part 2 next week, and then part 3 will do a very big video. So there's going to be stuff that can be seen.
And I know we had talked about previously about doing individual drawings. Have you still thought about that you could sell?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. It's a great question, because most of this is not really for sale. I mean, I could sell things. I could sell the wall hung. They are for sale, but it's hard to sell the rafts, because where would somebody put it? So Christine suggested to me that I do small sketches, because the original faces, not the whole thing, but just the faces of all of these people were charcoal sketches before they ever became part of anything. In fact, that's how I work. I start with the face, and then that's somebody, and then I know what that somebody's supposed to do. So when I have time, which I don't right now, but when I have time, I think that's a fabulous idea to
Yeah.
small, saleable sketches, make prints of them or something, and sell them not expensively.
Yeah.
I
Prince.
hope to be able to do that maybe by the time part 3 is up, so that people can come away with something if they like.
Definitely. Cool. I think that's probably a good place to end unless anybody has any other questions. It's been
Seems
really great. Heather, did we say the same thing?
Yeah, I think we should make, I think we should applaud.
I know, yay.
Oh, well, yeah, you guys.
Yeah. You know, I was
Wonderful.
at an Artist Thrive conference just last week, and the keynote speaker, Tanya Katan, who wrote Creative Trespassing, the very first thing she did, she's like, okay, you guys need to all stand up and give yourselves a standing ovation and clap and, like, you know, just kind of, it was really inspiring. And it's like, you guys have been working hard, you know, and I mean, Pam definitely deserves that.
Yeah.
So please try to see the show if you can, or if you can't see this one, the Rafts will return in January.
And
Yeah.
Pam will definitely share her video. We'll share it. We'll share the recording of this and also the video from LA Art Documents when she'll talk more about the rafts. And again, thank you so much, Ryan, for being at TAG and for doing the walkthrough and helping out. And you're awesome.
Yeah,
No
thanks.
problem. And yeah, no, thanks to you all for showing up and supporting Pam. It's such a joy to have her artwork again. And we are open. I know she said it before. The gallery is open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The show will run through October 31st. So feel free to stop on by. We'd love to see you and give you all the space to see the artwork and stay safe. Also, if you're interested, anybody watching, Christine is going to be hosting Artist Professional Practices this Sunday, which is October 11th at 11 a.m. On the TAG Gallery Zoom. And you can sign up and get a free ticket for that on our store, on the TAG store. So just visit taggallery.net and sign up on the store. We also have a total of 5 exhibits in TAG right now. So there's more to see as well. And this month, all of the exhibits are by women artists. I'm calling it the Women with Something to Say set, because all of the shows have a point of view about the world around us, many times a political point of view around the world, but there's also a peek into femininity as a subject and to the universal scope. So there's lots to see in the gallery. We'll also be having walkthroughs with those artists. So do check out our Facebook page for the dates for all of them. And I am now going to say thank you and mute myself. I've done enough salesmanship for the evening. Thank you, Pam. It's a beautiful exhibit, and it's such an honor to be able to live with it for the month.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you to TAG. It's just been great.
All righty. Everybody have a great afternoon or evening or whatever it is, wherever you are.
Thank you for being here, all.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care and stay safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Christine, do you know when it'll be posted?
This evening.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
check tomorrow. Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
I'm
You're
so
welcome.
sorry I missed it.
You'll be able to catch it.
Take care.
Bye.